The price.
That price is right. That's right, baby. Oh, I made it. Hi, I'm Zach.
And I'm Brandon.
And we're
The
Bourbon Bros.
The idea today is to put on a little game for our competitive game.
Game show.
And we're going to call today's game Price is Right.
Familiar?
So first and foremost, this is a blind taste competitive game here. It's important that we talk about that. So here's the idea. A player is going to outwit the opponent by selecting a bourbon and associating that bourbon with a suggested retail price. The other player is going to smell it, taste it, and grade that bourbon. And using those context clues, they're gonna say either yes, it is that price, or no, it's not.
Correct.
What happens if it's a no?
If it's a no, they have to say if the bourbon is higher or lower than that dollar mark.
All right, so it's probably easy enough to show, and maybe a little easier than it is to tell. So do you want to just jump in?
Okay, so we're starting with the 15. I'm going to pick a bourbon for Brandon. Is it going to be $15 bourbon or
something else?
Or something else.
All right.
Let's see, we're going to make some noise up here. We want to be confusing a little bit, right?
You could be on my right side right now, or on my left side.
All right, so
I'm that confident in my ability here, guys.
I got the bourbon in front of you.
Feeling pretty good. All right, bourbon, you got whiskey in hand. Honestly, it smells a little bit dull. Maybe that's my senses kind of adjusting to not being able to see, but I'm not picking up a ton of nose. I'm gonna say this is a little more floral, maybe like a light honey. So let's just give it a quick taste. And that is also pretty thin on the palate. Finish comes pretty quick. I'm gonna say that this is a $15 bourbon.
This is a $15 bourbon. This is the Evan Williams.
All right. Off to a good start. I like it.
Yes, the Evan Williams, $15. Correct guess.
Thanks for leading me with an easy one.
Yeah, of course. All right, we're on to our next one. Here we go.
Okay, a little more nose. I still feel like my senses are kind of muted here. It's weird, not being able to see it. I feel like I'm not picking up as much. So I would say this, it feels pretty in tune with a less expensive whiskey, with a more value whiskey.
Sure.
It's pretty quick, no hug. That's kind of that's going to be my big tell, I think, is how long it lingers.
Does that linger kind of tell you like an age on the barrel?
Yeah, generally I think the longer it lingers, the more it maybe has rested, the more the sugars have got to interact with the oak. You know, you wouldn't do two in a row that are the same. Would you do that? You're kind of a mind game player. So I'm thinking, I am actually going to say, I'm going to stick with my guns here. This is a $25 bourbon.
This is a $25 bourbon.
Ooh,
oh my gosh.
I'll say
that's great.
That definitely tasted a lot more bourbon-y than the first one.
We're moving on to our $35 bourbon. He still has 2 strikes left, and we have a lot of bourbons left.
2 out of 10. All
2
right.
out of 10.
Perfect. Give it a double here.
Ooh.
Okay, so a lot more caramel, a lot more vanilla for sure right off the bat. This has got a lot heavier nose, I would say. It just feels a little thicker. Maybe a little brown sugar. All right, so it's I would say that this is probably sitting between 90 and 100 proof. Not a ton of hug, but the flavor is really good. I could drink this with some frequency. It's not super viscous. All right, the finish doesn't last super long, but I can give. It's a little baby hug. It's like when Addison hugs me.
Sure.
It's a little baby hug. I'm actually going to say that this is not a $35 bourbon, and I'm going to say that it is. Well, it's not lower. I'm going to say it's higher.
It is higher. This is Brandon's favorite daily sipper.
Is it?
This is the Holladay. This is the Holladay.
Okay. I'll caveat that because this is the soft red wheat, which is a little more mellow than the actual Holladay, and it definitely has a little different profile than the traditional Ben Holladay. 3-0.
3-0.
Got a little bit of a streak going here.
So we are on the next in the lineup, which is going to be our $45.
Give me the whiskey.
So we're gonna go with this one.
Oh, this is so grassy. This is a high rye. Ooh, geez. So we have one actual rye in this lineup here. This smells rye-ish. Where did I put this thing? Okay. Oh, this is so grassy.
Is it a fast finish? Is it cugging? What do we got? Lingering?
Yeah, so the finish is actually thinner and a little bit quicker than I anticipated. So on the nose, that smells like a high rye, probably bourbon. It's got a little bit of sweetness. I'm gonna say that's not the Smoke Wagon. I'm gonna say that this is not $45.
And it is, that's correct. It is higher or lower?
I'm gonna say this is our $35 bottle.
This is our $35 bottle.
I thought that was a Smoke Wagon, dude. That smells like some hay for sure. All right, so to me, $55 is where bourbon really starts to elevate. This is where the bourbon should start feeling a little more viscous, a little more mouth presence. I feel like the $55 to $70 range is where I'm going to find my groove. I feel pretty good about this area.
Sorry, I was really in deep thought of how I should do this. We're trying to get a strike on the board. Strike number 1, here it comes.
Yeah, outwit your opponent, right? That's the idea here. I'm getting traditional bourbon here.
What does that mean to you? So if you're getting traditional bourbon, you're getting those nice smells.
Yep.
What are you expecting?
Caramel, vanilla, oak, right? That's your big 3 for a traditional bourbon. Think Buffalo Trace, anything from that lineup. You're gonna get distinct caramel, vanilla, oak. That's kind of baseline. This is not 55. This is higher.
That is correct. So, lower or higher?
Higher.
Oh,
yeah.
higher. Sorry.
Yep, I'm going
That's
higher.
what you said.
I'm sticking with
It
higher.
is definitely higher.
Okay, good.
It is
Thank
much
God.
higher.
That was so good.
Here's our price point.
Oh, I would drink it twice. That was so good. God, that was such a standout. We should just do the rest all that one.
We should just drink. Okay, so we're at 65. I think my selection on this one, I could go with this one.
65 and 55 to me, those bourbons are virtually interchangeable. This is like a lot of like store picks, single barrels. This is kind of that neighborhood where a lot of those live. I feel like I can stick my whole nose in there and not burn a single hair. This feels familiar. This feels rye-ish again.
All right.
We still have that rye out there. Would this be the Smoke Wagon? So nose-wise, a little bit floral, a little bit light honey. This is not 65. This is higher. This is the rye. This is our Smoke Wagon.
Everybody, this is your $65.
Oh, all right. Well, at least I didn't guess lower. All right. So I'm done. So we're gonna cut it off here. We're gonna switch it over to Zach. It is bright in here.
Yeah.
Zach, we are starting with the $15 bourbon. Oh, it's a dark bourbon. It's super dark, Zach.
Are these mind games?
Or
are these real hints?
Oh, it's a really dark bourbon.
this is sarcasm. Oh, it's interesting. So the nose is actually really subtle. There's not a lot to it. I'm smelling more floral than anything else. Maybe more mineral. Over the palate, it's quick, it's refreshing. This is Evan Williams, is it not? Is this $15?
It is the $15.
Okay.
Evan
I was going to say, there's no way he does it the same way that I did it.
Evan Williams, bottled in bond. It absolutely is. We're moving on to $25 now.
$25. All right, this one's different. This one's got quite a different smell. I'm going to be completely honest. It smells like cardboard. Like, really strong. I can't get anything else. Pretty quick on the palate. Not a lot of sweet flavors. I'm not tasting a lot of sweet flavors. It's quick. It doesn't give me a hug. There's not a lot of burn to it. It's probably a lower proof. This is probably the $25 bottle.
Do you want to phone a friend? Is that your final guess or is it not? If you think it's 25, it could be 25, or it could not be.
Let's say I'm gonna say it's not 25.
Is it higher or is it lesser?
Shoot, did you give me the same? Did you give me Evan Williams again? No, you didn't, because it doesn't smell the same. So this has to be higher. This has to be higher.
This is higher.
Excellent.
It is our $35 one. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get you a $35 here. Obviously the same one. $35 whiskey coming right up.
Oh, this smells almost the same. No, this one's sweeter. This one's sweeter. This one's sweeter. It still has that cardboard smell.
How's the flavor on this one? How's that compare?
Ooh, this one's a higher proof. This isn't 35.
Is it higher or is it lower?
This is higher.
This is the same whiskey you just tried.
Is it really? I thought so. I was like, this smells like it. I just mind tricks with myself.
I know, man. It's hard.
Mind tricks with myself.
That blindfold's a son of a bitch. All right, Zach, you are stuck on 35. I'll take the blindfold back here. I'm gonna make my run to number 10 here. Oh man.
Oh my god, it is bad.
That was a little bit mean. All right, so where did I leave off?
You left off at 65. So he took a strike at 65. I took a strike at 35?
35.
35, which is this guy.
So we both have one more opportunity to get as far in the board as we can.
One more opportunity. We're going to actually throw on curveballs on these ones. I'm not throwing soft pitches anymore. We are on $75. This is the one that I selected for Brandon to taste. Is it the 75 or is it higher or lower?
All right, so this smells wonderful. Oh, it tastes good too. Okay, all right. That tastes a lot different than it smells. So it
in a good way or a bad way?
Yeah. So it has a lot of traditional bourbon scent on the nose.
Sure.
But the taste is super rye, which to me is probably telling me that this is, I'm gonna guess, finally our smoke wagon. I'm gonna say this is not 75. I'm gonna say it's higher.
This is higher.
Is it?
This is higher.
Is it the smoke wagon?
This is the smoke wagon.
Yes. I feel like I'm gonna make it to 10. I feel like I'm not even gonna give you another opportunity to taste. That's how confident I feel.
We're on 85. This is the one I picked for Brandon.
Am I just splashing?
It's almost splashing.
Am I
almost.
No,
Oh.
splashing.
A little too rough. It's a dainty glass.
That's a little.
Pinky up, always.
Okay, so it's definitely not the same whiskey. It's not the smoke wagon, but it kind of has an interesting nose, which is throwing me a little bit here. All right, so the flavor is great, right? It's coming in with a lot of good flavor. The hug is nice too. I'm coming in with caramel, a little bit of oak, for sure some oak. Hard to pick up because it kind of smells like the smoke wagon. Honestly, if I'm being truthful about it. Yeah, okay. This is not an $85 bourbon. Okay. It's less, but it's like a $75 bourbon. It's so close. Is it 85?
This is not 85. You are still on the move, and it is lower.
Oh, thank goodness.
It is lower.
Can I ask what
it is 45.
Okay. What's our $45 bottle? That's a good bottle.
That is your Penelope. Okay.
That was tough.
Yeah.
Shit, that was tough.
All right. So we are on to $95. Let's move some glasses around.
You got to take your advantages where you can get them. I would say this, Zach, as you're picking here, you should pick something that kind of smells like a rye. This is not $95. This is lower. That
is correct. Give us some notes about why you think that.
No notes.
Which bottle do you think it is?
I'm gonna say it's like $35.
Okay, this is your Evan Williams.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so it was so faint on the nose. The palate was really fast.
Okay, so we're on our most expensive bourbon.
I'm not even gonna give you a chance, is what you're saying, baby. Is this gonna be or not?
Here's the pick.
I feel so confident on this that I'm just gonna nose it. That's how good I feel about this. I'm gonna guess this just on the nose.
We have our selection. This is our $105 category. Okay. What does Brandon think it is? So what do we got on the nose? Is it nice? Is it pleasant? Is it strong, soft? Nothing going on there.
All right, so on the nose, I am picking up a little bit of floral, some sweetness for sure, but it's not like a heavy, dark sweetness. I'm going to say it's more like along the lines of honey.
Okay.
Maybe like an agave, where it's
sure.
kind of a thinner sweetness. On the palate, it's a lot denser. I'm going to say this is not 105 proof. It obviously, my only option, it is less.
That is strike number 2.
Oh no!
It is $105, and it also is a bourbon he previously had, if you can recall, which will flash back in the video.
Oh shoot!
You had this at $55, and you thought it was the bee's knees.
I felt so good going into that. All right, touche. You got a chance. You got a chance.
All right, let the idiot taste.
So Zach left off at $35. We're moving on to the $45 bottle here. Let's go ahead and serve you up something nice. We'll do a little clinkage. We'll do a little swirly.
Swirly swirls.
Okay, boom. You are set, my man.
It's pleasant. It's pleasant. It doesn't have a very strong... So last time he got me on giving me the same bourbon, which it smelled like cardboard hard, like really good. Like it's just cardboard for sure. This is like very subtle. It kind of reminds me of the Evan Williams a little bit because it's just so subtle. Not a lot. I mean, there's some sweetness. I like the smell of it. Let's have a taste.
It's supposed to be $45.
I really want to say... I can drink it all. Is this an Evans Williams? There's no way you gave me this again, right? You did, didn't you? Is this a lower bourbon?
Is this a $45 bourbon?
No, this is lower.
This is Evan Williams. I thought it would be obvious. I wanted to kind of
get you
warm back up here.
I smelt it and I was like, "There's nothing to this."
Oh yeah, that was going to be the tell. So not a $45 bourbon.
Not a 45. So right at that price is right.
You are.
I'm correct. Correct.
You're correct. Yes, that was a $15 bourbon. You getting hot?
We're getting hot because the price is right. Let's keep this on.
The price.
That price is right. That's right, baby. Oh, I hit my head.
All right, moving on. Zach is on to round number 5 here.
Round number 5.
The $55 whiskey, and we're going to go ahead and give Zach something delicious.
Point, Zach.
All right, we have got the $55 whiskey here.
This one is. It's pleasant. It's very sweet, but it's like syrup. It's mapley syrup, not caramel necessarily, but it has a nice sweetness to it.
Sure. And
it smells almost heavy. Maybe around 100 proof. Yeah. It lingers really well. It doesn't have a lot of burn, but enough to tell me that the proof is slightly higher. It's got good flavors to it in a good way. I think it's indicating that this bourbon isn't at that price point. I think it's higher. I think this is a higher bourbon. Correct?
Zach, this is a $55 bourbon.
And we're on what?
Number 5. $55.
Oh no. Oh, this is right on the nose? Is that strike 2?
It is.
Oh, this is sad. How sad is that? So obviously, I lose. I mean,
yeah, you know what? Better luck next time.
Better luck next time.
You gotta pick your opponent.
I'm gonna blame the game. I know it says don't hate the player, hate the game.
Sure.
So I hate the game.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, I think Zach, that probably wraps up our game here. First of probably several renditions of this. We'll probably tweak it a little bit along the way, but glad to share it with you. We appreciate you guys tuning in.